Yeah, you get in good trouble.
Good trouble.
Yeah, you really do. No, why would you? Madonna?
Welcome to the world of Madonna, the Queen of Pop. This documentary takes you on an incredible journey through the life and music of one of the most influential and iconic artists of our time. From her humble beginnings in Michigan to her rise to fame, we explore how Madonna broke boundaries, challenged norms, and became a cultural phenomenon. Get ready to dive into the captivating story of a trailblazing artist who shaped music, fashion, and pop culture forever. Madonna Louise Ciccone, born in Bay City, Michigan, had quite the lively childhood. With her Italian and French-Canadian heritage, she was raised in the Detroit suburbs alongside her siblings. Losing her mother to breast cancer when she was just a child was a pivotal moment in her life. Growing up, Madonna, or Little Nani as family called her, was a spirited soul. She attended Catholic schools and made quite the impression with her unconventional antics. From cartwheels in the hallways to hanging upside down on the monkey bars, she had a knack for turning heads. She even had a bit of a rebellious streak, wanting to stand out, but also aiming for success in her studies. Reflecting on her younger days, Madonna confessed to feeling a sense of loneliness, a longing for something more. Despite her desire to excel academically, she didn't conform to typical girl stereotypes. She didn't bother with makeup and skipped shaving her underarms. Instead, she focused on her studies and aimed to make her mark in the world. However, tragedy struck again when her father remarried their housekeeper, Joan, which didn't sit well with Madonna. Their relationship strained, leading to a period of rebellion against her father that lasted for years. Madonna's journey into the world of performing arts started with classical piano lessons, thanks to her father. But her passion swayed toward ballet, and she managed to convince her dad to let her explore dance. It was Christopher Flynn, her ballet teacher, who encouraged her to chase her dreams in dance. After excelling in academics and even joining the cheerleading squad at Rochester Adams High School, Madonna graduated and earned a dance scholarship to the University of Michigan. However, her path took a different turn in 1978 when she decided to leave college and make a bold move to New York City. With just $35 in her pocket, she embarked on an adventure that would shape her future. Landing in the bustling city, she settled in Alphabet City in the East Village. Money was tight, and she worked odd jobs at places like Dunkin' Donuts while pursuing her passion for dance. She trained tirelessly at the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, studied under the renowned Martha Graham, and even performed with various dance troupes, scraping by to make ends meet. Madonna also took on gigs as a backup dancer for established artists, eager to make her mark in the industry. Yet her journey was not without its struggles. One harrowing night, she faced a terrifying experience when two men threatened her with a knife. Despite her strong exterior, it was a moment of vulnerability that left a lasting impact on her. Reflecting on the incident later, she realized the depth of her own limitations. Through hardships and triumphs, Madonna's determination and passion for dance continued to drive her forward, shaping her into the iconic figure she would later become. In 1979, Madonna met musician Dan Gilroy and joined Patrick Hernandez's troupe in Paris as a backup singer and dancer. After traveling and returning to New York, she moved in with Gilroy at an abandoned synagogue in Queens. Together, they formed her first band, The Breakfast Club, where Madonna sang, played drums, and guitar. During this time, she did odd jobs, like working as a coat check girl and making her acting debut in a film called A Certain Sacrifice. Later, Madonna teamed up with drummer Stephen Bray from her past and formed a band called Emmy and the Emmys. They recorded music together and lived in Manhattan. Eventually, Madonna decided to go solo, leaving the band to promote herself. She caught the attention of Camille Barbone from Gotham Records, who became her manager. Madonna frequented nightclubs to promote her demo, and DJ Mark Kamens helped her secure a meeting with Seymour Stein, the head of Sire Records. Madonna signed a deal for singles and started her journey as a solo artist. Her debut single, Everybody, was released, followed by her second single, Burning Up, Physical Attraction. Both singles did well on the charts. During this time, Madonna was in a relationship with artist Jean-Michel Basquiat and lived in Soho. Warner hired Reggie Lucas to produce her first album, But Madonna wasn't satisfied with the result. She sought help from John Jellybean Benitez, who remixed most tracks and produced Holiday, her first international hit. The album, simply titled Madonna, had successes like Borderline and Lucky Star. Her manager, Freddie DeMann, arranged a meeting for Madonna with film producer John Peters, who offered her a role in the movie Vision Quest. Madonna's journey from forming bands to her solo success and the beginning of her acting career was quite a whirlwind. In the early 80s, Madonna's star began to shine brighter than ever. She burst onto the scene with a style that quickly became all the rage for young women. Her mix of lace tops, layered skirts, fishnet stockings, and bold jewelry set a trend that spread like wildfire. Her second album, Like a Virgin, dropped in '84 and took the world by storm. It soared to the top of the charts in many countries, making history as the first album by a woman to sell over 5 million copies in the US alone. The title track caused quite a stir, with some folks complaining it promoted ideas that clashed with their values. But controversy didn't faze Madonna. She turned heads with her performance of Like a Virgin at the MTV Video Music Awards that year. Madonna in a wedding dress, atop a giant cake, rolling around on stage. It became one of those iconic moments in pop culture history. Material Girl, another hit from the same album, climbed to number 2 on the charts. And while filming the music video for that song, sparks flew between Madonna and actor Sean Penn. They tied the knot in '85, adding another layer to Madonna's growing fame. Madonna made her mark in movies too. She showed up in Vision Quest and later took the lead role in Desperately Seeking Susan. That film featured her chart-topping single, Into the Groove. Her presence in the movie was so strong that people started seeing it as a Madonna movie, even though she wasn't billed as the main star. Her talent was undeniable. In fact, Vincent Canby, a respected film critic, counted Desperately Seeking Susan among the top films of '85. Madonna was becoming a force to be reckoned with, both in music and on the big screen. Madonna hit the road in 1985 for her first big tour, the Virgin Tour. Everyone wanted to be like her, dressing up just like Madonna. Her songs were huge hits, with 4 singles from the album hitting the top 5 on the charts. Then, things got wild when some old photos of her appeared in magazines. They caused a big fuss, but Madonna didn't let it bother her. She even joked about it later, saying she wouldn't take off her jacket at a concert because the media might make a fuss about it in the future. The next year, she released her third album, True Blue, inspired by her husband at the time, Sean Penn. It was a massive hit all over the world, topping charts in 28 countries. Rolling Stone loved it, saying it sounded like it came straight from her heart. This album still holds the title of her best-selling one. But not everything was a hit. Madonna starred in a movie called Shanghai Surprise, which didn't impress the critics much. She even won an award for not-so-great acting. Despite that, she didn't give up on movies and appeared in Who's That Girl, also contributing some songs to its soundtrack. Her tour that followed set some huge attendance records. Her personal life was rocky too. She and Sean Penn had a tough time, and she filed for divorce in 1987, but changed her mind soon after. That didn't stop her from keeping busy with music, releasing a remix album called You Can Dance. Madonna's life was full of ups and downs, but she kept on making music and pushing boundaries. In 1988, Madonna took to Broadway in Speed the Plow. But things took a turn in her personal life when she filed an assault report against Sean Penn, her then husband, after an incident at their Malibu home. The New Year's weekend marked the beginning of the end for their marriage, as Madonna filed for divorce shortly after, deciding not to press criminal charges. Right after the split, Madonna landed an endorsement deal with Pepsi. She premiered Like a Prayer in a Pepsi commercial, a song that stirred controversy for its Catholic imagery. The music video faced backlash from religious groups and the Vatican, leading Pepsi to pull the ad and end their deal with Madonna. Despite the controversy, Like a Prayer soared to the top of the charts globally, marking her 7th #1 hit on the Hot 100. Collaborating with talented musicians like Patrick Leonard, Stephen Bray, and Prince, Madonna co-wrote and co-produced the album Like a Prayer. Critics hailed it as a masterpiece, praising Madonna's artistry and powerful voice. The album hit #1 on the Billboard 200 and sold a staggering 15 million copies worldwide. Hits like Express Yourself, Cherish, Dear Jessie, and Keep It Together solidified her success. As the 1980s drew to a close, Madonna was hailed as the Artist of the Decade by MTV, Billboard, and Musician magazine, marking her undeniable impact on the music scene. Madonna starred alongside Warren Beatty in the movie Dick Tracy in 1990, playing the character Breathless Mahoney. The film topped the U.S. box office for 2 weeks and earned Madonna a nomination for Best Actress at the Saturn Awards. She also released the album I'm Breathless as a soundtrack for the movie, featuring hits like Vogue and Sooner or Later. During filming, Madonna and Beatty started a relationship, which didn't last long after the movie premiered. Right after that, in April 1990, Madonna kicked off her Blonde Ambition World Tour, praised as an extravagant and provocative show by Rolling Stone. However, it stirred controversy due to her performance of Like a Virgin. Madonna defended her tour, saying it was meant for open-minded audiences to perceive sexuality differently. The live recording of the tour earned her a Grammy Award for Best Long-Form Music Video. Later that year, she supported Rock the Vote by lending her voice to a public service announcement promoting voter registration. In November, her first greatest hits compilation album, The Immaculate Collection, hit shelves, featuring new tracks Justify My Love and Rescue Me. It became a massive success, selling over 30 million copies worldwide. Justify My Love topped the charts, and its music video, featuring Madonna's then-boyfriend Tony Ward, was considered too explicit for MTV and got banned. Madonna's documentary film, Truth or Dare, chronicling her Blonde Ambition tour, became a huge hit, eventually becoming one of the highest-grossing documentaries ever. In 1992, Madonna was on fire. She rocked it in a movie called A League of Their Own, playing a baseball player named May Mordebito. That movie? Oh boy, it hit the top spot in the box office and was one of the year's top earners. She even sang the theme song, This Used to Be My Playground, which snagged the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. That made her the queen of having the most #1 hits by any lady at the time. She started her own company, Maverick, with Time Warner. That deal was huge. $60 million up front and a whopping 20% cut of the music action, the biggest rate in the business then. Maverick Records under her wing? It skyrocketed, making stars like Alanis Morissette and Michelle Branch. Madonna didn't stop there. She co-sponsored a big art exhibit for her ex-boyfriend Jean-Michel Basquiat. And then, in October of '92, she unleashed both her album, Erotica, and a bold book called Sex. The book had some seriously spicy pics that caused a stir, but it flew off shelves. 1.5 million copies, each at $50 a pop, sold like hotcakes. The backlash kinda overshadowed her album Erotica. It didn't hit the high sales like her previous ones. Even though it didn't bag the top chart spots like her earlier works, it still had some hits like Erotica and Deeper and Deeper. The next year, in '93, she starred in some movies. One was Body of Evidence, but critics weren't too thrilled about its scenes. Another one, Dangerous Game, went straight to video. The New York Times called it pretty intense and raw. In the early '90s, Madonna's performances sparked some controversy. Her Girly Show tour had provocative elements that stirred up strong reactions. In one instance, in Puerto Rico, a move involving the island's flag upset the audience. Later, on David Letterman's show, she did some things that got censored and surprised many, even giving him an unexpected gift. This period made some critics question Madonna's bold image, feeling she had gone too far. There was talk that her career might be in trouble. She briefly dated figures like Dennis Rodman and Tupac Shakur, adding to the media buzz. To change her image, she toned things down with a heartfelt song called I'll Remember. This was part of a film soundtrack, a move to soften her public perception. She realized she needed a musical shift and made appearances on more mainstream shows to connect with a wider audience. Her album, Bedtime Stories, marked this change with a softer image. It did well on the charts, producing hits like Secret and Take a Bow, the latter holding the top spot on the charts for a record-breaking 7 weeks. She also engaged in her passion for art, sponsoring exhibitions for influential artists like Tina Modotti, Basquiat, and Cindy Sherman, showcasing their work in prestigious galleries and museums. In the mid-90s, Madonna set her sights on portraying Eva Perón in the movie Evita. It was a role she longed to play, and she passionately convinced director Alan Parker that she was the perfect fit. After nabbing the lead, she dove into rigorous vocal training and delved into Argentina's history and Perón's life. During filming, Madonna faced challenges. She fell ill a few times and discovered she was expecting a baby, adding to the emotional strain of her performance. Despite these hurdles, her portrayal of Evita earned praise from critics when the movie hit theaters in late '96. Time magazine's Zach Connor even commended her unexpected brilliance, saying, "Madonna once again confounds our expectations." The movie's soundtrack, mostly featuring Madonna's voice, was released as a double album. Hits like You Must Love Me and Don't Cry for Me, Argentina soared to the top of charts across Europe. She also bagged the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Motion Picture Musical or Comedy for her role. In the midst of this success, Madonna welcomed her daughter, Lourdes Lola Maria Ciccone Leon, with fitness trainer Carlos Leon. This marked a significant personal triumph for Madonna, who, at 38, achieved both her dream of having a child and a major win on the silver screen in the same year. Despite these highs, her relationship with Carlos Leon ended amicably a year later, with Madonna expressing that they were better off as close friends. After Madonna's daughter Lourdes was born, she delved into Eastern mysticism and Kabbalah thanks to her friend, actress Sandra Bernhard. This new path influenced her greatly, shaping her perceptions and image. Her seventh album, Ray of Light, released in 1998, reflected this change. Teaming up with electronica producer William Orbit, Madonna aimed to fuse dance music, pop, and British rock. The album received heaps of praise, with critics hailing it as one of the 90s pop masterpieces. It bagged 4 Grammy Awards and was even nominated for Album of the Year and Record of the Year. Rolling Stone even listed it among the 500 greatest albums of all time. It was a commercial hit, topping charts worldwide and selling over 16 million copies. The lead single, Frozen, marked a milestone for Madonna, debuting at #1 in the UK and hitting #2 in the US, making it her 6th single to reach that spot. The second single, Ray of Light, also made waves, debuting at #5 on the Billboard Hot 100. Beyond music, Madonna started the Ray of Light Foundation, focusing on women, education, global development, and humanitarian efforts. She even won a Grammy for Beautiful Stranger, a track she recorded for the movie Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. In the film world, she starred in The Next Best Thing in 2000, also contributing to its soundtrack with a cover of American Pie and an original song, Time Stood Still. The former soared to #1 in the UK, marking her 9th chart topper there. In 2000, Madonna came out with her 8th album called Music. Building on the electronica vibes of her previous hit, Ray of Light, this album was a blend of new sounds. Teaming up with French producer Mirwais Ahmadzai, Madonna was all about working with lesser-known talents who brought something unique to the table. She believed that these weirdos, as she called them, were the future of music. Critics loved Music. One reviewer said it was like a whirlwind of colors, techniques, and substance, just as deep and thoughtful as Ray of Light. It was a huge success too, topping charts in over 20 countries and selling millions of copies super fast. In the US, it debuted at #1, marking Madonna's first chart topper in more than a decade. The album spun out 3 big singles: Music, which hit #1 on the Hot 100, followed by Don't Tell Me and What It Feels Like for a Girl. Now, the video for What It Feels Like for a Girl raised eyebrows. It showed Madonna causing a bit of chaos, and because of that, MTV and VH1 decided not to air it. In the late 90s, Madonna met director Guy Ritchie. They welcomed their son, Rocco John Ritchie, in Los Angeles in 2000, but it wasn't an easy birth due to complications. Rocco's christening took place in Scotland, followed by Madonna and Ritchie tying the knot at Skibo Castle. After not touring for 8 years, Madonna hit the road with her Drowned World Tour in 2001. It was a huge success, making $75 million from sold-out shows, marking her as the year's top solo artist. Around the same time, she released GHV2, a collection of her hits from the past decade. Her venture into acting alongside Ritchie in Swept Away didn't go as planned. The film didn't do well, and neither did her West End play, Up for Grabs, which got some pretty rough reviews. Even her cameo in the James Bond film Die Another Day received mixed reactions, with the song she sang getting both Golden Globe and Golden Raspberry nominations. It was a bit of a roller coaster ride for Madonna professionally during that period, with highs like her successful tour contrasting with some less successful ventures in the entertainment world. In 2003, Madonna collaborated with photographer Stephen Klein for an exhibition called X-Static Process at New York's DH Projects Gallery. The project traveled globally in a shorter form. That same year, she released American Life, her 9th studio album inspired by her views on American society. She said it was a reflection on her achievements and past values. The album received mixed reviews. Some praised its intelligence and boldness, while others criticized it as lacking effort. The music video for its title track stirred controversy due to its violence and anti-war themes. Madonna pulled it back when the Iraq invasion started, feeling the need to protect her kids amidst a charged political atmosphere. The song didn't do as well on the charts, and the album became her lowest selling at that time. Madonna made headlines later that year at the MTV Video Music Awards by kissing Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera during a performance of Hollywood. She also collaborated with Spears on Me Against the Music and released Remixed and Revisited, featuring revamped versions of songs from American Life. In addition to her music, Madonna ventured into writing children's books. Her first book, The English Roses, focused on the jealousy between 4 schoolgirls. It became a massive hit, landing on the New York Times bestseller list and earning proceeds for a children's charity. Madonna and Maverick once took Warner Music Group to court, claiming there were financial mess-ups that cost millions. In turn, Warner fired back, saying Maverick lost tens of millions on its own. It all got sorted out when Warner bought Madonna and Ronnie Dashev's shares in Maverick. So Madonna's company became part of Warner Music, but she still had her own deal with them for making music. In 2004, Madonna kicked off her Reinvention World Tour, hitting the US, Canada, and Europe. It was a smash hit, raking in about $120 million and even got its own documentary, I'm Going to Tell You a Secret. That same year, she got a nod from the UK Music Hall of Fame as one of the founding members. Quite the honor, alongside legends like the Beatles, Elvis Presley, Bob Marley, and U2. Rolling Stone also gave her major props, ranking her at number 36 on their list of the 100 greatest artists of all time. Fun fact, Britney Spears wrote about her in that special issue. Jumping into the next year, Madonna did some stellar charity work. She covered John Lennon's Imagine at Tsunami Aid and rocked the stage at the Live 8 benefit concert in London. Her star power was definitely shining bright. In 2005, Madonna dropped her 10th album, Confessions on a Dance Floor. It was a total hit, like a DJ spinning tracks at a club. Critics loved it, with one from Billboard saying it was Madonna back in her prime. The album even snagged a Grammy for Best Electronic Dance Album. The lead single, Hung Up, and the album itself shot to number 1 in a bunch of countries. That's a big deal. It got Madonna into the Guinness World Records. Hung Up had this cool sample from ABBA's song Gimme, 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 A Man After Midnight. ABBA doesn't usually let people use their tunes, but they loved what Madonna did. And Sorry, the second single, it became her 12th number 1 hit in the UK. In 2006, Madonna hit the road with her Confessions tour, dazzling 1.2 million fans globally and raking in over $193.7 million, breaking records as the highest-earning tour by a female artist. But it wasn't without controversy. During her performance of Live to Tell, Madonna incorporated religious symbols, sparking backlash from the Russian Orthodox Church and the Federation of Jewish Communities of Russia, who called for a boycott due to the use of crucifixes and the crown of thorns. While on tour, Madonna did something pretty incredible. She founded Raising Malawi, a charity, and even helped fund an orphanage in the African country. Her visit to Malawi led her to cross paths with a little boy named David Banda. She decided she wanted to bring him into her family, but her choice stirred up quite a fuss. See, the adoption didn't go smoothly. In Malawi, the law demanded that prospective parents live in the country for a year before adopting, a rule Madonna skipped over. She defended her actions on The Oprah Winfrey Show, explaining that there weren't clear laws for international adoptions in Malawi. She spoke passionately about how David had battled pneumonia, malaria, and tuberculosis before she met him. David's biological father, Johann, faced criticism too. People accused him of not understanding what was happening and pressured him to join a court case against Madonna. But he stood by his decision to let Madonna and her husband adopt David, mentioning that threats from activists made things tough for him. Despite the uproar, Madonna's determination prevailed. The adoption was finalized in 2008, and David officially became a part of Madonna's family. Madonna had quite the whirlwind in the late 2000s. After a big concert in London, she said goodbye to Warner Brothers Records and jumped into a new deal worth a whopping $120 million with Live Nation. She wasn't just making music, she also made a documentary about the challenges faced by people in Malawi. Can you believe it was directed by someone who used to be her gardener? She dipped her toes into directing too, making her first film called Filth and Wisdom. Critics had mixed feelings, but it was a bold move. Oh, and she got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a huge honor even though she didn't sing at the ceremony. Instead, she got the Stooges to perform her songs. Her album Hard Candy came out, full of personal stories and collaborations with big names like Justin Timberlake and Timbaland. Some critics loved it, calling it a taste of what her upcoming tour would be like. Others weren't so sure, saying she was trying too hard to fit into the urban music scene. The lead single from that album, 4 Minutes, did pretty well. It climbed high on the charts and even broke a record. Madonna surpassed Elvis Presley for the most top 10 hits. In the UK, she kept her record for the most #1 singles by a female artist. She bagged awards in Japan too, scooping up her 5th Artist of the Year trophy. But wait, there's more. She went on her Sticky and Sweet tour, teaming up with Live Nation. It was huge, earning a massive $408 million and becoming one of the top-grossing tours ever by a solo artist. That's no small feat. Even though it eventually got surpassed, Madonna made her mark big time. In 2008, things got rocky for Madonna. Her brother, Christopher Ciccone, published a book without her okay, causing some serious tension between them. Then, she and her husband Richie called it quits and went through a divorce. They sorted things out, though, agreeing on how to split time with their kids, Rocco and David. Madonna had her heart set on adopting a little girl named Mercy from Malawi. It didn't go smoothly at first. The courts rejected her application because she wasn't a resident there. But after a bit of back and forth, she finally got the green light to adopt Mercy. Before wrapping up her deal with Warner, Madonna released a hits album called Celebration. It was a huge success, hitting #1 in several countries. She even showed up at the MTV Video Music Awards to pay tribute to Michael Jackson. Despite the ups and downs, Madonna ended the decade on a high note. She was the top-selling solo artist in the US for the 2000s and the most-played artist in the UK. Plus, Billboard ranked her as one of the top-grossing touring artists, just behind the Rolling Stones and U2. Quite a ride for the queen of pop. In 2010, Madonna was on fire. She rocked the stage at the Hope for Haiti Now concert, lending her voice for a great cause. Her live album, Sticky and Sweet Tour, dropped and rocked the charts, hitting #10 on the Billboard 200. But that wasn't all. She smashed records in Japan, beating out the Beatles for the most top 10 albums by an international act. Then there was this super cool thing with the TV show Glee. Madonna gave them the green light to use all her songs for an entire episode. How awesome is that? She didn't just stick to music, though. Madonna and her daughter Lourdes teamed up to create the Material Girl clothing line, inspired by Madonna's iconic style from back in the 80s. Talk about a throwback. But wait, there's more. She ventured into fitness by opening Hard Candy fitness centers worldwide and dipped into fashion again with a second brand called Truth or Dare. This one had everything from footwear to perfumes, and that's not even the best part. Madonna showed off her director's skills with her second film, It's about the love story between King Edward VIII and Wallis Simpson. Though it didn't get the best reviews, Madonna's song Masterpiece for the film snagged her a Golden Globe Award. In 2012, Madonna rocked the Super Bowl halftime show, pulling in a whopping 114 million viewers, even more than the game itself. She put on an epic performance alongside guests like LMFAO, Nicki Minaj, MIA, and CeeLo Green, belting out her hit Give Me All Your Lovin' from her album MDNA. Speaking of MDNA, it hit the shelves shortly after her Super Bowl success. Teaming up with producers like William Orbit and Martin Solveig, Madonna launched this album under a new deal with Interscope Records. And guess what? It debuted right at the top of the Billboard 200, marking her 5th consecutive album to do so. But that's not all. She took MDNA on the road with the MDNA tour, stirring up some controversy with themes like violence, politics, and nudity. Despite the buzz, or maybe because of it, the tour raked in a jaw-dropping $305.2 million from sold-out shows, making it the highest-grossing tour of the year and one of the biggest earners ever. Madonna wasn't just about music. She teamed up with Stephen Klein for a 17-minute film called Secret Project Revolution. It was released on BitTorrent, kicking off the Art for Freedom initiative, promoting free speech and art as a way to tackle injustice globally. The project drew in thousands of art submissions and even got other big names like David Blaine and Katy Perry involved as guest curators. Madonna's charity, Raising Malawi, built 10 schools in Malawi to educate thousands of kids, but a misunderstanding arose when the country's president accused Madonna of exaggerating the charity's contribution. Despite feeling sad about the accusation, Madonna stayed focused on her goal and clarified things. It turned out the president hadn't approved the statement made by her team. In 2014, Madonna visited her hometown Detroit and pitched in to help the city during its tough times. She also expanded her ventures into skincare products by launching MDNA Skin in Japan. Her album, Rebel Heart, came out in 2015 after some of its demos leaked online. Unlike her earlier work done with just a few collaborators, this album involved a bunch of talented folks like Avicii, Diplo, and Kanye West. It was a bit of a look back for Madonna, exploring personal and career reflections. Critics loved the album, praising it as her best in years. Madonna had a whirlwind tour promoting her album, Rebel Heart, traveling across North America, Europe, and Asia. It was a big deal because it was her first time in Australia in 23 years. But amidst the concerts, things got tricky in her personal life. She ended up in a custody battle with her ex, Richie, over their son, Rocco. The disagreement started when Rocco wanted to stay in England with his dad during the tour instead of traveling with Madonna. Courts in New York and London got involved, but eventually Madonna decided to settle things privately. She had some major moments outside of music, too. Billboard named her Woman of the Year in 2016, and she made headlines for a powerful speech about ageism and sexism. She was a big supporter of Hillary Clinton during the U.S. presidential election, and even gave an impromptu concert supporting Clinton's campaign. But when Donald Trump won, Madonna didn't hold back her feelings. At the Women's March, she got some attention for saying something about the White House that got taken out of context. She later explained she wasn't promoting violence. The following year, Madonna expanded her family by adopting twin sisters from Malawi. She moved to Portugal with her new daughters and also opened a children's hospital in Malawi through her charity. Her Rebel Heart tour got turned into a live album, which did pretty well. But things got tricky when some of Madonna's personal stuff, like love letters from Tupac Shakur, went up for auction. Madonna wasn't happy about it and tried to stop the sale, saying she deserved privacy even though she's famous. But she lost the case because there was an old agreement allowing the items to be sold. Tough break for Madonna. Madonna found herself immersed in Lisbon's vibrant music scene thanks to her friend Dino de Santiago. He introduced her to a bunch of talented local musicians playing all sorts of captivating tunes like fado, morna, and samba. She got hooked on these gatherings they called living room sessions, where these artists jammed together. Those sessions sparked something in Madonna. They inspired her to create something fresh and different for her 14th album, Madame X. Teaming up with her longtime collaborator Mirwais and Mike Dean, she dove into producing the album. When it hit the shelves in June 2019, people loved it. Critics were raving about its boldness and how it was unlike anything Madonna had done before. Madame X didn't just stop at being a critical darling. It soared to the top of the Billboard 200, marking it as her 9th #1 album. And not just that. Every single released from the album, Medellin, Crave, I Rise, and I Don't Search, I Find, zoomed straight to the top of the Billboard Dance Club Songs chart. It was a record-breaking spree for Madonna, extending her lead for the most #1 entries on that chart. Madonna had a whirlwind time. She rocked the Eurovision Song Contest with killer performances in 2019, hitting the stage with Like a Prayer, and teaming up with rapper Quavo for Future. Her Madame X tour kicked off with a twist: smaller, more intimate venues and a strict no-phone policy to keep the focus on the music. Fans were pumped, and the tour raked in a whopping $51.4 million in ticket sales. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Unfortunately, her tour hit a speed bump due to a recurring knee injury leading to cancellations. Then, just before the final show, bam, COVID-19 hit, shutting down gatherings. Madonna wasn't spared either. She tested positive for coronavirus antibodies. But she didn't just sit back. Nope, she stepped up, putting her money where her heart is. She supported the COVID-19 Therapeutics Accelerator and chipped in an extra $1 million towards vaccine research through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Dua Lipa's hit Levitating got an extra pop of star power when Madonna and Missy Elliott jumped in with guest vocals. Around that time, Dua started cooking up a movie about her life, planning to take the director's chair. Some big names like Aaron Cressida Wilson and Diablo Cody tinkered with the script, and Julia Garner was set to play Madonna. But things got postponed down the line. Madonna wasn't just chilling during this time. Nope, she dropped a documentary called Madame X on Paramount Plus in 2021, giving fans a peek into her tour of the same name. On her 63rd birthday, she made a big announcement. She was teaming up again with Warner, letting them have her whole music catalog, including her latest 3 albums from Interscope. To celebrate her 40 years in the music biz, Madonna kicked off a series of reissues starting in 2022. Her remix album, Finally Enough Love, 50 number ones, was a sweet reminder of her dance floor domination. Packed with her chart toppers from Billboard's dance club songs, this album was a hit itself, snagging a top 10 spot on the Billboard 200. Madonna's been up to some cool stuff lately. She dropped a remix of Hung Up called Hung Up on Tokisha, featuring rapper Tokisha. This new version adds some Dembo vibes to the original, and get this, she released the demo of Back That Up to the Beat from her 2015 sessions, which was also on the deluxe version of her Madame X album. Then came the big news. Madonna's hitting the road on her Celebration Tour, a greatest hits concert happening from July 2023 to January 2024. And guess who's joining her? None other than the fabulous Bob the Drag Queen. But that's not all. She's spreading her magic in collaborations too. Madonna's teaming up with Christine and the Queens for 3 tracks on their album Paranoia, namely Angels and True Love. And here's a kicker. She dropped a hot single called Popular alongside The Weeknd and Playboi Carti. It's part of the soundtrack for the drama series The Idol. How awesome is that?
After being intubated in intensive care for a mystery infection, Madonna's been discharged from the hospital.
Madonna faced a health scare in June, leading to her hospitalization after being found unresponsive in her New York City apartment. She spent several days in intensive care due to a serious bacterial infection that followed a low-grade fever. This setback unfortunately meant postponing the initial leg of her Celebration Tour in North America. However, amidst her recovery, there was a special surprise for fans during the MTV Video Music Awards. An old Pepsi commercial from 1989, which had been banned back then due to some controversial scenes from Madonna's Like a Prayer music video, made a comeback. Madonna shared her thoughts, reflecting on the incident that led to the commercial's cancellation years ago, emphasizing the importance of maintaining artistic integrity. Finally, after overcoming her health ordeal, Madonna's Celebration Tour kicked off in October at the O2 Arena in London, receiving rave reviews from critics and fans alike. Madonna's life was shaped by some tough experiences. Some experts believe losing her mother was the most influential. They say that feeling abandoned and devastated taught her the importance of staying strong. It made her afraid of being weak, so she learned to rely on herself. Others think something else was even more important. They say a terrible thing happened to Madonna when she was young, a bad experience with someone hurting her. This, they believe, drove her more than her mother's death. They think she felt unprotected and abandoned, and that made her turn all that pain into her work. She wanted to change things and make sure she was in control. Madonna always admired Nancy Sinatra, considering her a role model. Nancy's song These Boots Are Made for Walkin' left a lasting impact on Madonna. When Madonna was younger, she wanted to explore new things like books, art, and music. During this time, classical music caught her attention. She especially liked Baroque music and had a soft spot for composers like Mozart and Chopin because she found their music to have a feminine quality. Madonna's musical inspirations are quite diverse. She looked up to artists like Debbie Harry, Chrissie Hynde, Patti Smith, Karen Carpenter, and groups like the Supremes and Led Zeppelin. Dancers Martha Graham and Rudolf Nureyev also influenced her. Growing up, she listened to David Bowie, and her first ever rock concert was his show. When Madonna was young, she found a lot of inspiration from old-time actors like Carole Lombard, Judy Holliday, and Marilyn Monroe. She thought they were super funny, girly, and attractive. She felt a connection to them because they were both silly and sweet, yet strong and feminine. Madonna admired their style, their humor, and their ability to be both bossy and needing care, just like her. In her music videos, Madonna often paid homage to these icons. In Material Girl, she dressed up just like Marilyn Monroe in Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. She even studied old funny movies to prepare for a film called Who's That Girl?, learning from the comedies of Lombard. For Express Yourself, she took inspiration from a really old silent film called Metropolis and made her video look futuristic. And in Vogue, she recreated the glamorous style of old Hollywood photos, copying poses from stars like Marlene Dietrich and Rita Hayworth. The song's lyrics mentioned many of Madonna's idols like Bette Davis. She loved and admired these stars for being incredible in their own ways. Madonna drew inspiration from various artists in her work. For instance, Frida Kahlo's art influenced her, showing up in the visuals for her song Bedtime Story. The music video incorporated Kahlo's style, alongside another artist named Remedios Varo. Madonna's a big fan of Tamara de Lempicka's Art Deco paintings, too. She's featured these paintings in her music videos and tours, blending the visual art world with her music. In one video, Hollywood, she paid tribute to photographer Guy Bourdin, but it caused a bit of trouble. Bourdin's son wasn't happy about the use of his father's work and filed a lawsuit over it. Madonna also took cues from Andy Warhol's artistic choices, especially the way he used certain themes in his films. You can see echoes of Warhol's style in her music videos for Erotica and Deeper and Deeper. Madonna's connection to her Catholic upbringing shines through in her career. From using rosary beads in her fashion to infusing her music with Catholic themes like in Like a Prayer, 1989, she's woven it into her art. Even her album MDNA reflects these influences. She's been drawn to Opus Dei, a Catholic institution emphasizing spirituality in daily life, attending their meetings since 2011. In a 2016 interview, Madonna mentioned feeling an unexplainable tie to Catholicism, evident in all her work. Her exploration of Kabbalah, notably in albums like Ray of Light and Music, is also observed in her music. Talking about her beliefs in a 2019 interview, she expressed a more open perspective, seeing God as a force to be thankful to rather than feared. She even questioned the idea of worshiping an image, like the figure of a man on a cross in churches, likening it to idolatry. Madonna's journey with religion is complex and reflective, woven into her music and life, blending her Catholic roots with broader spiritual exploration. Madonna's music has been a fascinating journey of constant change and pushing boundaries. Some experts say she's always experimenting with new sounds and looks, aiming for more fame and recognition. Thomas Harrison praised her for breaking the mold of what female singers could do, both in how she looked and what she sang about. Another professor, Santiago Fuz Hernandez, pointed out that even though Madonna might not have the most powerful voice, she's worked hard to explore different music styles, lyrics, and even how she presents herself visually, all to grow as an artist. Madonna's career is truly remarkable because she's always been in charge of everything, from writing and producing most of her music to taking the reins in her debut album's creation, where she clashed with Reggie Lucas over production. Warner didn't allow her to produce her own album until her third, but once she got the green light, she made history. Stan Hawkins, who wrote Settling the Pop score, praised her for breaking into the male-dominated recording studio scene, saying she's fully aware of the exclusion of women from the musical workplace and set out to change it. According to producer Stuart Price, working with Madonna isn't about producing her. It's collaborating with her because she's got a clear vision and knows how to achieve it. Despite being called a control freak, Madonna values her collaborators' input. She's clear that while she loves having control over her career, she doesn't need everything on her album to scream Madonna did it all. She believes having total control might make her lose perspective. Instead, she prefers being surrounded by smart, talented people she can trust, seeking their advice and welcoming their input. Madonna really honed her songwriting chops back in '79 when she was part of the Breakfast Club. After that, she went on to be the main writer for 5 songs on her first album, like Lucky Star, which she cooked up on a synthesizer. She penned over 300 tracks registered with ASCAP, with 18 of them being entirely her own work. Rolling Stone thinks she's a top-notch songwriter, praising her catchy hooks and lyrics that stick with you. Even though she's collaborated with producers from various music styles, her songs always carry her personal touch and real-life stories. Her co-writer Patrick Leonard is all praises too, calling her an amazing songwriter. He's amazed by how she crafts melodies, weaving them through verses and choruses in unique ways. Madonna's songwriting has been the backbone of her consistent music career, according to Barry Walters from Spin. She's been up for the Songwriters Hall of Fame a few times, and Rolling Stone even ranked her among the top 100 songwriters ever in 2015. Madonna started her music journey trying out rock with bands like Breakfast Club and Emmy, where she recorded about 12-14 punk rock-style songs. But when she signed with Gotham Records, they weren't into her funk direction and let her go. She kicked off as a disco diva when that genre wasn't in the mainstream, and she kind of helped bring dance music to the big stage in the early 80s. Some folks saw her as a pioneer of dance pop. Her music wasn't boxed into one category. Even though some thought her focus on dance and connection with the LGBTQ+ community made her different from real rock and roll, she didn't let that stop her. Madonna's music broke boundaries and didn't stick to labels like gender or sexuality. She was all about pushing limits. Madonna's music has been a wild ride of change and experimentation. You see, she didn't stick to one style. She shook things up big time. Back in '86, her album True Blue came out, and it was like she hit the reset button. She dropped this emotional and chilly song called Live to Tell, showing a whole new side of herself. People were like, whoa, Madonna's getting serious now. She kept surprising everyone, mixing these slow, heartfelt tunes with her usual upbeat tracks on different albums. But it wasn't just that. In '98, she made electronica music crazy popular with Ray of Light. Critics were tipping their hats to her for taking that underground sound and blasting it into the mainstream. And get this, she didn't stop there. From throwing it back to '30s jazz vibes with I'm Breathless to diving into R&B on Bedtime Stories, she was all over the place, in a good way. Then, picture this. Madonna belting out operatic tunes for Evita, and later jamming to guitar-fueled folk music on American Life. But wait, there's more. In '19, she went all out with different languages and world music in Madame X. It's like Madonna had this musical treasure chest and just kept pulling out all these crazy cool styles. Madonna's voice has always been a big deal, but she wasn't always confident about it. Some experts said she was great for lighter songs, but not a heavyweight talent. Others praised her for using her voice like rock legends, adding layers and twists just like John Lennon or Bob Dylan did. At first, she sang with a bright girlish tone, but later on, she changed it up. Critics had once called her Minnie Mouse on helium, so she intentionally switched gears. When she did the movie Evita in '96, she had to take singing lessons. Surprisingly, it expanded her voice range a lot. She realized she had more to offer than she thought. Besides singing, she's a musical multitasker. Piano was her first love, taught when she was little. Then she picked up drums and guitar from her boyfriend back in the '70s. She played guitar on some early records and even tried violin lessons for a movie role once. But it was guitar that made a comeback later. She worked hard to improve and ended up playing it on tours and albums. She got recognized for her guitar skills too, which is pretty cool. Madonna rocked the music world using MTV like nobody else. She made music videos that weren't just cool to watch. They were like extensions of her songs, adding a whole new dimension. Some folks even thought her videos were more famous than her actual tunes. One guy, Mark C. Taylor, called her the queen of videos. He said MTV's greatest creation was Madonna herself. But not everyone agreed. Her videos sometimes stirred up controversy. Songs like Papa Don't Preach, Like a Prayer, and Justify My Love, had people talking more about the videos than the music itself. There's this one interesting take that says Madonna's songwriting talents kinda got overshadowed by her mind-blowing videos. MTV even gave her the title of the greatest music video star ever, praising her for changing the game and making music videos an art form. And hey, in 2020, Billboard named her the top music video artist ever. She really left a mark with her creativity and innovation in the world of music videos. Madonna's early music videos were a unique blend of American street style with a splash of Hispanic influence and glamour. She rocked a downtown Manhattan vibe that caught on with audiences across America. Her videos during the True Blue era kept this mix alive, incorporating Hispanic culture and Catholic symbols. People loved her multicultural flair, and it connected her with diverse youth audiences. Madonna's style in those videos set trends. Think layered skirts, boleros, and accessorizing with rosary beads and crucifixes, like in La Isla Bonita. What's really cool is how she subtly flipped the script on traditional gender roles through her videos, hinting that women could be in charge too. But perhaps the most memorable was Like a Prayer. This video packed in a lot of symbolism and imagery, featuring an African-American church choir, Madonna's attraction to a black saint statue, and scenes with burning crosses. It was bold and sparked a lot of conversation. Madonna's journey in films hasn't always been smooth sailing. Critics haven't been kind to her acting, describing it as stiff and forced. There's this sense that she's giving it her all, but it doesn't quite click. Privately, the criticism hurts her more than she lets on. After the movie Swept Away tanked at the box office and received a thrashing from critics, Madonna made a promise. She'd never act in a film again. It seemed like a firm decision. However, some folks believe it wasn't just her acting that led to these rough patches. They think it's more about the material she was given. In a retrospective review of her work, one writer felt that if Madonna had better roles, she could have totally stolen the show in a good way. It's a bit of a roller coaster for Madonna in the film world. Some highs, some lows, and a lot of mixed feelings along the way. Madonna is a fascinating puzzle. Some say her life seems like one big act, but when it comes to her live shows, she's a hit. Her movies might not always get applause, but her concerts, they're a big deal. She was the first to turn her music videos into live shows, making it feel like you're watching those videos come to life. One author, Elin Diamond, thinks Madonna's live performances make her videos seem even more real. It's like she's taking what's on screen and making it happen right in front of you. Her concerts aren't just shows. They're like walking art exhibits, using all the latest tech and fancy sound systems. She's all about mixing it up with multimedia to create something extravagant. Sure thing. Madonna and Janet Jackson were absolute trendsetters in the world of showmanship. They took concerts to a whole new level by not just dazzling audiences with amazing costumes and perfectly timed pyrotechnics, but also by pulling off incredibly athletic dance moves. But according to some critics, this sometimes meant their live singing took a back seat. Madonna, especially during her 1990 Blonde Ambition World Tour, got some heat for supposedly lip-syncing. However, she changed up her game plan afterward. To focus more on her singing during the tough parts, she'd stay relatively still and let her backup crew handle the intense dance routines. What's interesting is that Madonna was among the first to embrace hands-free radio frequency headset microphones. These gizmos were designed with a headset that sits over the ears or on the head, and a microphone on a little arm that reaches the mouth. Because she used it so prominently, it got nicknamed the Madonna mic. This nifty tech allowed her, and many others after her, to sing and dance without being tied down to a handheld mic. It's pretty cool how she influenced the design of something so essential for performers. Madonna isn't just your average pop star. She's more like an iconic symbol of all things made in the USA. People study her like they do history or society because she's made a mark that goes beyond just music. Imagine this. Before the internet took over, Madonna was already a pro at going viral. She was everywhere, on TV and magazines, even on book covers. It was like she had this magic touch that kept her right at the cutting edge of what was cool and what everyone wanted. Some folks say she's changed the way we live and connect with each other more than anyone else ever will. There's this professor who mentioned that anytime people vote for the biggest or greatest in pop culture, Madonna's name always comes up. And hey, back in 2012, VH1 crowned her as the greatest woman in music. Madonna's not just a singer, she's a whole phenomenon, one that shaped how we see music, fame, and what it means to be a superstar. Madonna isn't just the queen of pop, she is pop itself. She crafted the playbook for what a pop star should be, setting the stage for a new era in music. Before her, big music stars were mostly guys rocking out. But after Madonna, it was all about female singers taking the spotlight. Howard Kramer from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame said Madonna's career paved the way for every female pop singer after her. She set the bar high and changed the game for what female performers could achieve. Think of it this way. When the Beatles came to America, they shifted the focus from solo acts to bands. Madonna flipped it back, putting emphasis on solo female performers. Her influence is everywhere. Almost every recent female pop star, Britney Spears, Beyoncé, Rihanna, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, they all credit Madonna for inspiring them. And it doesn't stop there. She's also influenced guys like Liam Gallagher from Oasis and Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, motivating them to pursue music. Madonna's impact on music and culture is huge. She sparked a whole revolution for women in music. Her boldness about sex, nudity, style, and sexuality made everyone pay attention. She made people think about empowerment and taking control of who they are and how they relate to others. In a book called Doing Gender in Media, Art, and Culture, they talk about how Madonna, as a famous woman in music, challenges what people usually think about feminism. Some people, like Professor Sut Jolly, even see her as a kind of hero for feminism. Madonna's way of being powerful and embracing her sexuality, though, can also stir up debates among feminists. But her influence on how women are seen in the world of music is undeniable. Madonna, the pop sensation, has been a trailblazer in breaking social barriers through her work. She's been a champion for marginalized groups, showcasing LGBT, Latino, and Black cultures in her art. Some say she's made culture accessible to all, becoming a cultural icon across social classes. She's been praised for cruising through diverse cultural terrains, seamlessly moving between different subcultures while gaining immense popularity. Madonna's impact goes beyond music. She's hailed as a role model for businesswomen. Her financial control in the industry, raking in over $1.2 billion in sales within a decade, stands as a testament to her success. Her level of power and control was unprecedented for a woman in entertainment, earning admiration as a dynamic entrepreneur worth emulating. However, opinions about Madonna's approach aren't unanimous. Some view her as opportunistic and ruthless, willing to go to any lengths to achieve her goals, even if it means losing close relationships along the way. Nonetheless, she's been hailed as the LGBTQ community's ally and considered one of the greatest gay icons by many. Madonna's journey is characterized by her vision of success, understanding of the music industry, and her willingness to work hard and adapt, a blueprint for her commercial success according to London Business School academics. Madonna, the pop sensation, is an absolute powerhouse in the music industry. She's not just a singer, she's a legend. Her net worth? Well, it's kind of mind-blowing, ranging from hundreds of millions to nearly $1 billion. Forbes couldn't help but notice her incredible talent and success. They named her the top-earning female musician a whopping 11 times across 4 decades. Yep, you read that right. She ruled the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, and even the 2010s. Her music? It's everywhere, and it's loved by millions. Imagine this. Over 300 million records sold worldwide. That's a lot of people dancing to her tunes. Guinness World Records even gave her the official title of the best-selling female music artist ever. She's a big deal in the States, too, with the Recording Industry Association of America calling her the best-selling female rock artist of the entire 20th century. And get this, she's the 3rd highest certified female albums artist in the US. That means lots and lots of certified album units, 65.5 million to be precise. Plus, she holds the record for the most RIAA multi-platinum albums by a female artist, tying with the great Barbra Streisand. That's a serious achievement. Madonna is a legend in the music world, and her concerts have been beyond incredible. Can you believe she's raked in over $1.5 billion from ticket sales alone? That's mind-blowing. According to Billboard Box Score, she's the top female touring artist ever. making a whopping $1.376 billion between 1990 and 2020. What's truly amazing is that Madonna's the only woman to pull off not one, but two solo concerts with over 100,000 fans each. Her Who's That Girl World Tour in Paris drew in a staggering 130,000 people, while her Girly Show in Rio de Janeiro packed in more than 120,000. And awards, she's got a mantle full. 7 Grammy Awards and a whopping 20 MTV Video Music Awards, including being the first woman ever to snag the Video Vanguard Award back in 1986. Madonna's music journey is like a chart-topping roller coaster. She's bagged some incredible records. Get this, she's the solo artist ruling the Hot 100 chart, just behind the Beatles overall. And when it comes to dance club hits, she's the ultimate champ, no competition. She's nailed a whopping 50 #1 dance club songs, beating out even George Strait's country chart toppers. Her singles? Oh boy, 38 top 10 hits on the Hot 100. That record lasted nearly 2 decades. Then along came Drake and Taylor Swift in 2022 to claim their spots. Internationally, Madonna's set fire to the charts. 11 #1s in Australia, 24 in Canada, 23 in Italy, 7 in Finland, 21 in Spain, and 13 in the UK. And here's a fun fact. In Germany's GfK Media Control Chart's 40th anniversary, they crowned Madonna the Queen of Singles. Now that's legendary.